In the UK, if you're in school and you want to identify as a cat, you're allowed to do that. And the students that said that's crazy, well, they got screamed at and admonished by the teacher who said, it's okay to be a cat in my classroom. Okay, let's wrap it up with this. I don't have names because they're not being released, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. There's a teacher in the UK that called one of his 8th grade kids in his classroom despicable for saying people can't identify as cats in the classroom. How dare you, he said. You just really upset someone. He got in a heated argument with 2 8th grade students for their views about gender ideology. And it's been recorded. And there's the quote, how dare you? You just really upset someone saying things like that. You should be in an asylum, said the teacher at Rye College, a coeducational secondary school in East Sussex, England. In other words, the kid said, you can't be a cat. That seems okay. You can't be a cat. And the teacher got infuriated about it. The student was interviewed, and the student said, I didn't say that. I said if they want to identify like a cat or something, then they're genuinely unwell. The 8th grader said, I said if they want to identify like a cat or something, well, they need help. I agree. They're not a cat. They're a boy or a girl. The teacher argued that the students' views on gender ideology were not consistent with equity and inclusion, and therefore not acceptable opinions at this school. He said, the teacher, I am not having that expressed in my lesson. When I'm teaching you about you can be who you want to be and how you can identify. That's what the lady teacher said. The teacher had originally critiqued the students, literally criticized them, for saying, where did you get the idea there were only 2 genders? Meaning there's lots more. The teacher said it was despicable to believe there were only 2 genders and that sex and gender were the same thing. The student attempted to explain it by saying, if I respect their opinion, why can't they respect mine? It's not an opinion. It's science. It's a fact. The teacher replied, gender is not linked to the past that you were born with. Gender is about how you identify, which is what I said in the very beginning. There are lots of genders. Some people don't even have a gender. And the student said, well, teacher, I just don't agree with you. And then another kid said, yeah, but you can't have that. Why do you mean you can't have that? It's not a law. You're talking about the fact that cisgender, meaning your biological sex, is being normal. That's what you were born with. That's what you identify with. That's what your sex organs say. And the teacher replied to conclude, that opinion in this classroom is despicable. Meaning, if you're a boy by genitalia and you want to identify as a boy and then decide to be a cat and someone calls you on it, you're despicable. Not needing mental help for the kid that thinks he's a cat, or the girl that thinks she's a squirrel, or the girl that's a boy or boy that's a girl. Somehow this has become so crazy and so out of control. We've gotten to the point where whatever you say is right and reality be damned. I've got a problem with it. I know most of you do. The question is, what do we do about it? How do we push back? How do we make it safe to be a boy if you're a boy? How do we make it safe to be a girl if you're a girl? How do we keep the boys out of the girls' bathrooms and vice versa? And especially out of the sports where they're all showering together and the boys are in there with all their stuff hanging out and the girls are so uncomfortable, they literally leave the locker room.